Now, ever since the beginning of the year, Jagex has really been stepping it up with their content release schedule. There's just been so many new blogs, so much new information regarding the future of the game, and due to that, the market has been wildly changing on the daily as new information has been released. So let's start with one of the biggest changes I've noticed over the last month, and that is to the entire bone market. Prayer market, maybe that sounds better. Now, if you look at bones, or really anything that is used to train prayer, the value has been trending upwards really quickly in February. For example, one of the most traded items, the dragon bone, has gone up from 2.6 thousand to nearly a peak of 4,000 in February, which is really impressive considering this is normally one of the most heavily botted items in the entire game. If you look at the last 4 years, it's pretty much at an all-time high right now, which is really impressive. Now, it's certainly not just the dragon bone either. For example, we have the wyvern bone, pretty much the exact same item. Also peaked at nearly 4,000 this month as well, while being at pretty much an all-time high. We have the hydra bone that went from 6,000 up to 7,000 this month. And finally, the superior dragon bone, seeing nearly a 3,000 GP price increase just in February, which is a massive increase for an item like this. So what exactly is causing this? Well, I would say it definitely has to do with Desert Treasure 2. There's a lot of stuff we know about Desert Treasure 2 and more that it was even released in the last week. One of the biggest new rewards from the quest is going to be a brand new prayer book. It's going to be called the Ruinous Prayer Book, and it'll have a ton of new, powerful, never before seen prayers. But right now there's no information released on what levels you need for the prayer. So right now there's a ton of money being invested into bones to level up accounts personally, just so they can use the prayer book, as well as just merchants trying to make money investing in a hot new item. It's really not just bones either. If you look at ensouled heads, they're also up a lot as well. Some of the more popular ones, like the ensouled dragon head, is up nearly like 40% from 7.5 thousand up to a peak of 13,000, actually nearly doubling in February. That's insane. So killing dragons right now, probably kind of profitable. Now, something that's even more shocking than the price of dragon bones is this man's haircut. Well, thankfully, the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped, has just come out with their brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. First things first, the Beard Hedger is cordless and fully waterproof, which means you have the ability to shave wherever your little heart desires: the bathroom sink, the kitchen sink, the park fountain. No longer be bound by electrical outlets like those other fools. One feature in the Beard Hedger that I've never seen in other razors before is it has a rotary wheel that allows you to switch between 20 different cut lengths, all with the same guard. So you can easily switch between different guards without having to organize a million different attachments and have your drawers completely full all the time. The Beard Hedger also takes advantage of a titanium coated T-blade, which is really soft on the skin, but still leads to a really smooth and precise cut. Now, sometimes I wake up and think, oh god, what am I doing with my life? I have to make some changes. Well, what better way than with a fancy new beard trim? The Beard Hedger comes with beard oil and beard balm, which will allow you to craft that new look. And on top of that, you're also going to receive beard conditioner and beard shampoo. This is a specific product for your beard, as actually I didn't know as beard hairs are much more sensitive than your head hair. Hair on your head? Hair of the head? I don't know. So I definitely recommend going ahead and checking out Manscaped. Right now they're even offering a discount to my channel viewers, which will get you 20% off and free shipping if you use the code 20flipping at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com as long as you use the code 20flipping. And thanks again to Manscaped for sponsoring the video. Now, sticking in the world of resource items, probably the item that has seen the single biggest increase by percentage is probably actually the Avanto seed. Not a very likely culprit, but if you look back in November, the Avanto seed was worth only 250 GP. Incredibly cheap, but if you look now, it's actually worth over 10 times that amount. Right now, Avanto seeds are going for about 2.7 thousand, which is probably one of the few items this month that went up over 10 times in value. But why? Honestly, not 100% sure on this one. Well, to be fair, there is an obvious reason as to why, but not a real explanation. If we look at the price of Avantos right now, they are up a fair bit over the last couple of months. They're worth about 3,000, 3,200 each. But actually the more important thing is right now, farming Avantos is the most profitable herb. The profitability of Avantos is just higher than anything else right now, and that's mostly due to the herb's higher price, but The thing I'm not really sure about is why Grimy Avantos are up that high. They're only really used to make super energy potions and subsequently stamina potions, but those aren't up a tremendous amount either. Another seed we haven't talked about that's actually up quite a bit the last couple of months is the Snapegrass seed. If you look back at the year, it's been roughly worth around 2,000 to 3,000, but now it's up to nearly 5,000. And again, I think it comes down to it being a very profitable herb to farm right now. Now, if I were to make a guess, I would say that because potions are made with 2 items, I would guess that the other item in the process has dropped in value. So to make prayer potions, you need Renar weeds, which I'm pretty sure have dropped due to the abundant supply of herb seeds, and yes, they've dropped a lot. We've already checked on that. So Snapegrass probably has gone up to compensate because prayer potions are still expensive and in demand, so the value has to come from somewhere. Now the inverse of that is for the Avanto herb, which is combined with a Mortmire fungus to make an energy potion. Mortmire fungus is down from about 600 down to 200 this month alone, putting it pretty well at an all-time low. But since stamina potions haven't dropped much, Avanto has just gone up to compensate, and I think that could be the main reason why it's now the most profitable herb to farm. Now moving on from the resource market, let's have a look at a couple PVM items that I've been kind of interested in this month. One item we've looked at before, but we just have to mention again, is the Eldritch Orb. I was completely wrong about this item. I just didn't ever expect it to get this expensive, but it has. The Eldritch Orb is now up to 400 mil. I still think that's insanely expensive for this item, considering if you look a year ago, it was only worth 60 mil, but it just continues to rocket upwards. It's probably the item that has increased the most in 2022 and continues to this year as well. Just to put in perspective, the Eldritch Orb is now worth more than the Harmonized Orb, which is very, very weird. Now, if you don't remember in the last episode, the reason that the Eldritch Orb is going up so much is it's now a best in slot item when doing Inferno runs, and this became the case shortly after the release of Tombs of Amascut, and that's due to the fact that the Tombs of Amascut released the new 4-item rune pouch, which means you don't need to use a Kodai wand anymore, which subsequently tanked the value of the Kodai, but now people are bringing the Nightmare Eldritch Staff instead. But still, 400 mil for this item seems pretty damn steep. Now, sticking in the world of PVM items, one that has fallen a lot this month is the Grazi Rapier. It's been dropping in value for a while, but just in February and just this week, it plummeted another 10 mil pretty much out of nowhere, continuing a very bad last couple of months for the item. Bring it down also to the lowest price point I think the Rapier has ever been at. Now, in my opinion, I still think this is just a direct reaction to the power of the Osmunton's Fang. Now, the Osmunton's Fang is also dropping in value, but that really comes down to just the quantity of them that are being pumped into the game. TOA drops items much more frequently and is accessible for a lot more people, which means there's just going to be way more Fangs traded every day. I mean, just straight up looking at the trade volume, there's around 4,000 Fangs traded every day, and only around 1,000 or 1,200 Rapiers, even though this item's been out for like 3 or 4 years longer. But because the Fang is still stronger than the Rapier in quite a few locations, it's pretty much just forcing this item downwards and taking a lot of its value away. And I think that reality is just finally catching up to the item this month. Now, I also wanted to do a quick check-in with RuneScape's newest wilderness weapons. Here we have the Void Waker. I know I messed that up quite a few times in the last market analysis, but it is indeed the Void Waker, not the Walker. Now, this item is fluctuating a lot this month, but overall has actually remained pretty consistent ever since its initial price crash. It's remained around 200 mil for, about 3 weeks, which is pretty good for a new item, to be honest. And that's kind of a trend I've noticed with new item releases, is they hit their floor pretty quickly after the release. Either players in general are just better at gauging what an item's actually worth quicker, or new items that are being released recently have just been way more powerful than expected. I think both those could be the case for the Void Waker. It's certainly a very powerful weapon, and it's seeing a lot of use. Now, on top of that, we have the Web Weaver Bow, which similarly has remained pretty damn consistent. For the last 3 weeks, it's retained a value of around 45 mil, which again is pretty good for the item being out for over a month now. Similar trend with the Ursine Chain Mace. Now the Ursine Chain Mace right now is worth around 30 mil, which is kind of a similar trend as the other items. Pretty consistent for the last 2 or 3 weeks. And the final item, the Accursed Scepter, it's fallen the most by far. The first couple went for 60 mil and now it's only worth 5 mil. But hey, still pretty consistent. People ditched this item quite quickly though. Now to wrap things up here, an item that I haven't actually checked on in a couple of months is the old school Runescape Bond. What happened to it after Christmas time? How much are they going for right now? Well, right now they're actually still worth around 7 mil, so they're still incredibly pricey. They haven't really dropped much since November. Back in earlier years, there was definitely a much more consistent seasonal trend, but now the only real consistent trend is they are still going upwards over time. Bonds did indeed hit a new all-time average high point this November and will probably hit a new all-time high next year as well, but all bets seem to be off on any actual visible trend. But I wouldn't really hold my breath on bonds going even down to 5 mil again anytime soon, if ever. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching as always, and I will see you in the next market recap. Now, before I go here, I want to give a giant thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. Thank you so much to Aelandra, Mitch Reynders, The Hybrid, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed at the Dragon tier. You guys are awesome. I do really appreciate it. Also, thank you to Kapersky, YoYoSub89, and NDM0001 for being subscribed at the Runite tier. Thanks everyone again, and I'll see you next time.